All right, we'll call the regular meeting of December 14th, 2021 to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Sean Douglas.
Here.
Michael Howry.
Here.
Happy birthday, Michelle Hayes.
Ooh, 50.
Oh, must we announce that? Here.
Brian Horvath.
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
Please let the record reflect I did not say that. Is there a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Brian Horvath.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Unfortunately, we have a few moments of silence this evening. It's always sad to learn of someone's passing, especially when it's a member of our Madison family. Recently, we learned of the passing of 3 members of our Madison family, Annette Feeney, Annette Lasko, and Donna Brumbaugh. Ann Lasko was born on July 30th, 1934, passed away on November 25th, 2021. Ann worked in the cafeteria of Madison local schools for many years, as well as a bank teller and at Madison Country Club. Ann attended Cleveland State University. After graduating from Madison High School in 1951, she was a member of the American Legion Post 112 Ladies Auxiliary and the Fraternity of Eagles. Ann loved traveling, going to casinos, cheering on her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren at their many sporting events. Ann will be missed by her 5 children, Philip, Alan, Thomas, Kathy, and Valerie, as well as her many grandchildren and friends. Annette Feeney was born on November 12, 1965, passed away November 26, 2021. Annette was a graduate of Madison schools and worked as an educational aide for many years. She and her husband, David, whom she married on July 25, 1987, raised 2 children together. She enjoyed camping and shopping, but her favorite pastime was being with her 4 grandchildren. Donna Brumbaugh was born on July 13, 1964, and passed away on December 1st, 2021, surrounded by her family. Donna worked as an assistant to the treasurer for Madison Schools for the past 6 years. Donna graduated from Riverside High School in 1982, went on to attend Lakeland Community College. She loved participating in her children's 4-H group as an advisor and being a coach for the Leroy Softball League. Donna played co-ed softball for many years and was a regular participant in 5K races. She was a Cleveland sports fan and loved four-wheeling in the hills of West Virginia. Donna will be greatly missed by her former husband, Greg, their children, Becky and Rusty, and her co-workers. All of us at Madison Schools extend our deepest and most sincere sympathy to the friends and family of Ann Lasko, Annette Feeney, and Donna Brumbaugh. Please join the board and me in a moment of silence in their memory. Thank you. Are there any board members wishing to give reports this evening?
Well, I'll just make a comment. Tonight, we're going to be approving a school safety plan We do have these plans in place. If you are not aware of that, we do. And as I was reading over that, I was grateful that we have a superintendent and assistant superintendent that, in all the years I've served on the board, I've never doubted their commitment to safety for our students, whether it be upholding the highest standards for our school bus drivers or taking care of threats that have occasionally come our way. I just want to thank our superintendent and assistant superintendent for their commitment to your students' safety. Thank you.
Any other board members wishing to give a report tonight? All right, we will begin our public participation portion. We've had folks register who would like to speak this evening. Our first speaker is Daisy Moles. Okay. Jessica Lampman.
Hello. That was an awesome way to open up the meeting. I really enjoyed that. That was nice. I have a few things to get to tonight. I'd like to start off by saying thank you for voting to modify your masking policy and allowing parents to have their rights restored when it comes to choosing whether or not they'd like to mask their children. By doing so, you have shown parents, grandparents, and other community members that you really care and you do support their right to choose. I just wanted to say thank you for that. I know you didn't choose to modify on my accord, but nevertheless, I'm grateful. I'd like to speak on communication and transparency. You've heard me, us, hounding you about wanting more transparency, better communication with the parents and the community. And I know it's a ringing bell in your ear at this point. But here's why. When there's an incident of violence within any district building, parents really should be notified immediately, the same day, not days later after the info has went public. And parents have learned about it on, elsewhere. In the district, then they're forced to release a statement, whether they plan to or not. We already learn about it, and when that's the way the situation is handled, it gives the impression of like a hidden agenda or bad communication, and I don't want our board being seen that way. I know myself and countless other community members have hounded you for months and kind of attacked and jumped down your throat. I don't want to be known as someone who thinks my Board of Education is an enemy. That's not the goal. So I just wanted to say that. Another brief example. Sean, our board president, he released a statement in regards to the pre-K and the masking, and it said in the statement, if parents don't agree with our policies, they can go elsewhere. Parents can choose to send or not send their children. And I get that. That's true. That's a fact. But the little ones should be allowed the same freedoms as the older kids. And I understand, for the vaccine and this and that, nothing was ready yet for them. Well, does that mean we keep that in place until there's one able to be implemented? 2 months from now, 90 days, 3 years from now? Like, is that what we're really going to base our judgments off of? And I hope not. I don't think telling parents of the district to go look elsewhere if they don't like the policies is the greatest thing in the world. They shouldn't really have to go look elsewhere. This is Madison. We're a community. You spoke about Madison family. That's the whole reason I moved my family to Madison, because all I ever heard was how great Madison is and how great the schools are and the sports and this. It was a no-brainer to move here. And I love it here. I truly do. But if that's the way we're going to run pre-K, I can't sign my daughter up for that. I want to. I want her to go to Madison Pre-K. It's a wonderful program. I hear nothing but amazing things about it. And quite frankly, my daughter needs to go to pre-K. I don't want to have to take her somewhere else out of a district. Like, this is Madison. I want to be in Madison. My kids go here. I help with the sports. I'm dedicated to staying here and keeping my kids here. I'm not trying to say that to make Sean look bad or sound bad. I voted for Sean. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Sean's. I think he's great at what he does. He's a dedicated and hardworking president. But I've had 11 families reach out to me and ask me if I know of any other neighboring preschools who are not, flexing that mask mandate and allowing, the little ones to go. And I haven't been able to respond to them because I cannot sit here and say, yeah, go here, go here, go here. When I live in Madison and I want them to be in Madison, I don't want our enrollment to go down. I want to keep people here. This is a good community and a good school system. So I got people, waiting on a reply from me. What should I do? I don't know what you should do. I don't want you to leave Madison. Not leave Madison. I don't want you to send your kid elsewhere. That's not the answer, in my opinion, but God almighty. If I can't even sit here and say, yeah, I'm sending my girl to Madison, how can I tell other people to? So I'm going to hold off on her enrollment for a little bit until I can figure out what I'm doing. On a happier note, I'd like to kind of reach out to the board about a fundraising opportunity. I don't think it's any secret that there are a lot of community members that have a distaste of myself, board members, Madison Matters, etc. Myself and the co-founders of Madison Matters came up with an idea of hosting a Pie in the Face event. I ran a similar event when I was a PTA president at my son's previous school. It was a pretty big hit. Everybody got a good kick out of it.
You have about 30 seconds left, Jessica.
All right, all the proceeds, the school can collect that. They can decide where it goes. I just want to ask that we, as Madison Matters, just be kept in the loop as where it's going to. I'd like to personally see it go to a local church for a family in need or something our pre-K can use or something like that. But, I'm totally down to let somebody pie me in the face to go towards the kids. Think about it. Everyone has my email. Lord knows you got my email. But I think it'd be a cool event to do, to raise some money and kind of team up and kind of figure that out. So that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Are you ready to go now, Daisy? Okay.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I
Hello.
think I've got everybody's names down finally after a few months of this. So I actually didn't have time for a script, Sean. If I get 30 seconds, if you can let me know. I'm hoping
Will do.
it's not going to take that long, but it usually does. But I just want to start off with a pleasant greeting and hello. Thank you guys for showing up and being here. I'm really hoping that we can, as we move forward in this community, as my organization is working with the board. The other day I spent 2 hours on the phone with Sean. I appreciate that, Sean. We have a lot of things we want to tackle and resolve and partner with and just really make these schools fantastic and this community fantastic. We were ready to move forward with all these issues, but then we had to reverse a little bit because we realized with the last meeting that the pre-K was left behind with these optional maskings. And it kind of dawned on me, and I was like, whoa, hold the brakes. So our organization, just to be really clear that, we have been labeled some things. We've been, anti-mask and extremists, that sort of thing. I would actually like to suggest that maybe we are slightly extreme because we show up and we care and we're not going anywhere. And we really love our kids and we love our community. And in a sense, that is kind of extreme behavior. There's a lot of apathy. But we're working to ignite the parents as well, and we're not always just coming down here on you guys. We're actually, trying to get the parents inspired. But what we do is we're not anti-maskers. You can definitely call me that if you'd like. I prefer the word pro. I'm a pro-face, and I like to work in things that I support. But our group itself is comprised of people with all different views. But the thing that we are united on is parents' choice. Sorry for that. Is parents' choice. And that's what we come together on, because these issues have so many different viewpoints, so many different angles, and they really have to be left up to the parent to decide. And we can't move forward as an organization until that's honored by the board. And you guys have made some progress on that, but to leave the pre-K in masking, it hurts my heart, to be honest. It's just, I don't know if you've seen a classroom full of 3-year-olds wearing masks. It's hard to see. You know, I feel for the teachers that are doing this. And so that's what we're here for. You know, you guys know my stance on masks, obviously. I would like to move on from this issue. I promise this is not the only thing I want to talk about. But we can't, because we have to have that as a foundation, that there's an honoring of the parents' choice with this board and with the community. So I'm hopeful that, you know, it's gotten on the motion has been added today, and I think that's a really good sign that as an organization, as a community, that you guys are listening. I would just like to point out a few things, though, with your statement, Sean, that, you know, kind of touching on what Jessica said. But at first, the statement said that you said, hold on, sorry. We said we experienced a large quarantine, and that's why we had to do that masking. That verbiage is a little misleading. We implemented a quarantine. It wasn't experienced. You guys made the decision. It has been admitted by this board that there was mistakes made in that quarantining. So I just want to make sure, because it goes out to the community like, oh, we can't help this, but it actually, all these decisions do stem from the board. We can decide whether to quarantine and how to quarantine. So I did want to point that out. The other thing is that, you know, you mentioned in here that the policy went optional so that both sides of the fence could be, you know, considered, but really it went optional because vaccines happened. Optional means parents' choice. That's what optional means, just straight up parents' choice. Then parents can decide to vaccinate, not vaccinate, mask, not mask. Anything else is actually going on this side, the other side, not the parents' choice side. So I just want to be clear how that's stated, that's not also, that verbiage is a little misleading as well. As far as the survey, you know, I've mentioned this to Sean, and I don't know the results of the survey, but you have to realize that there is no parents of 3-year-olds that don't want their kids in masks that are putting them in Madison preschool. That survey is skewed. You know, I have a 3-year-old grandchild. Jess just said she's not putting hers in. There's no way. So your numbers there, I don't know, maybe the surveys are supported it, maybe, but I'm telling you, the people that really don't know that that's harmful for their children, they're out, you know, and I don't know the way it works with the tax dollars and preschool and how the taxpayers are involved in this. I believe at one of the last board meetings, we voted on some funding for preschool teachers, so I do believe there must be.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
for the
I do believe there must be some intermixing of our tax dollars in the preschool, and so really the community itself should be part of this conversation. So I thank you for your time. I do want to say, I believe if she's still brave enough to come up here, my daughter is going to come up and speak, so I really hope you can open your hearts and your ears to what she has to say. She's reading for another co-founder of ours, so it's not necessarily her words, but she's doing us a big solid by coming up here and talking, so thank you so much.
All right, London Lewis.
Hi, I'm London Lewis, and I'm reading a statement for Nicole Guzzi, co-founder of Madison Matters. I will be citing from many specific findings from various scholarly independent studies. I will submit my citations to the board following this meeting, as I do not want to waste time in this speech. So go through them all. Back in early 2020, Dr. Anthony Fauci was one of the first to tell the American people that face masks are useless, although he's since changed his opinion to the more the merrier. But we have more than just his opinion to go on. In fact, all we have to do is pick up a box of face masks and see for ourselves. That because it literally says that on the box of surgical masks that they do not stop the virus. Yet, still the debate rages on. Schools all over America continue to force the kids to wear masks in the name of safety. The benefits of masks in preventing serious illnesses or death from COVID-19 among children are microscopically small. At the same time, they are disruptive to learning and communicating in classrooms. We all know that COVID-19 is less of a threat to children than accidents or the common flu. The survival rate among American children with confirmed cases is approximately 99.99, and recent studies have found an even higher survival rate. At the same time, the long-term harm to kids from masking is potentially enormous. Masking causes mental and emotional stress for children and disrupts learning. Covering the lower half of the face, both teachers and student, reduces the ability to communicate. In particular, children lose the experience of mimicking expressions, an essential tool of nonverbal communication. Positive emotions such as laughing and smiling become less recognizable, and negative emotions get amplified. Bonding between the teachers and students takes a hit. Overall, it is likely that masking increases the chances that children will experience anxiety and depression, which are already at a pandemic level in older children. It is very difficult to give infants and toddlers the social emotional connection that they need while wearing a mask. Children have almost 100% chance of recovering from COVID, and in fact, they bounce back from the infection rather quickly. So why are the parents letting irrational fear porn that the media has been selling us since day one cloud their better judgment? The board has stated they do not want to lift mandates for preschool because there is not a vaccine for them yet. This is unacceptable and dangerous. In regards to this vaccine, it is far from proven safe. In fact, one is paying attention. They will do well to stay far away from it. To subject children, toddlers, to this experiment is alarming. There are currently many lawsuits pending that the news refuses to report. Attorney Tom Renz has recently uncovered disturbing DoD COVID files that show hospitalizations doubled after the vaccine was introduced. Did you know that recently a group of gravely injured COVID-19 vaccine recipients went to Washington, D.C. and spoke in front of a Congress about the serious and life-altering complications they have suffered? One of them was a 12-year-old Ohio girl named Maddie DeGray. Maddie was the first Pfizer trial for kids. She was a perfectly healthy little girl, and now, thanks to the COVID vaccine, she is in a wheelchair, fed from a tube in excruciating pain, and permanently disabled. She will need round-the-clock care, likely for the rest of her life. These people have been tossed to the side by and cannot even hold the pharma companies accountable for their injuries. Letters from some of the injured had to be read aloud to Congress. There were even suicide letters, and yet this is the option you are giving to parents. Although we realize the issue today is masking, it is connected to vaccines. To wait for a toxic vaccine to become available is reckless and shows a blatant disregard for parents' choice and medical freedom. We are asking that you stand behind parent choice for our babies, regardless of their vaccine status. Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria Nadbat.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Well, I'm Victoria Nadbath. I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak today about the agenda item amendment of Return to Learn plan, which allows for optional masking of preschool students beginning January 5th. I have 2 preschool-aged children, one of which currently attends Madison preschool. Your vote today will directly impact my family. Are you aware that young children like our preschoolers are now considered the most vulnerable in the pandemic? The Director of Pediatric Infection Control at UH Rainbows and Babies Children Hospital said pediatric hospitals have been affected with tight beds. The hospital is worried about the side effects from COVID-19 in children, like multi-system inflammatory syndrome, which can require intensive care, and they are seeing a disturbing number of children getting long COVID. I appreciate the communication to preschool parents from our board president, Mr. Douglas, explaining that the phase-in dates allow immediate optional masking for middle and high schoolers upon return to school, as they already had the opportunity to be fully vaccinated, and that elementary was held off until January 5th to give them time to get vaccinated, and that preschoolers were not included, as preschoolers could not yet get vaccinated. My question is this: if vaccination was a key consideration in your policy last month, what changed this month? Pfizer expects data for 2 to 5-year-olds by the end of this month. I urge you to wait to implement an optional masking policy until the preschoolers, who are the most vulnerable due to inability to get the vaccine yet, are given the chance to get the most effective layer of protection, vaccination, along with low community spread, before removing the other most effective layer of protection, which is masking. Early education is so important. Please vote no to give our preschoolers the gift of time so all students can stay healthy and stay in school. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our public participation portion. Those are the folks that registered to speak this evening for that. Before we move on to our next agenda item, which seems to be the subject of the public participation portion, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that folks brought up tonight. Jessica brought up the, and I'm not sure if I'm phrasing it the same way you did, Jessica, but I thought you said an incident of violence. We didn't have an incident of violence. We did have a student who threatened violence. Our administration became aware of that. We made a police report. Our police became involved. We issued a statement through our superintendent, and that student was taken into custody by law enforcement the same night that we became aware of it. So there was no threat the following day to begin school. I realize that parents have expectations of immediate communication. There are a lot of considerations when those things happen, especially when law enforcement's involved, and we take our guidance from the police department, basically, and we issued a joint press release with law enforcement when law enforcement was ready to do that. So I just wanted to follow that up. I know there have been rumors about an additional issue, but I'm not going to comment on rumors. I'm going to comment on that was the issue that we dealt with. There was a threat that we became aware of after school that was resolved that evening before school was going to take place the next day. So I think that's very important to clarify. So a couple of you brought up the statement that we had, I had issued on our preschool page regarding masking. And I just want to clarify that at our last meeting, our board reached essentially what was a compromise. And that compromise was that our middle and high school students would go mask optional pretty much immediately, because the next day of school was going to be following Thanksgiving, and that we would go mask optional for our elementary schools after Christmas break. And that was, the compromise in large part was based on that's when those elementary students could be vaccinated. At that time, and still now, preschool students could not be vaccinated. So that was not part of the compromise that we reached at the last meeting. So that brings us to preschool this evening, and we'll take a vote on that shortly. It's the next agenda item when I'm done talking. And It's important to note, and I wasn't inviting anyone to leave our pre-K. We have an excellent pre-K program. What my statement was, and I'll just read that paragraph because I think it's important to be clear about what I wrote. Hadn't planned on reading this, but here we go. That now brings us to the issue of the preschool masking policy. Preschool is a voluntary and parent-paid activity, different than statutorily required K through 12 education. Preschool parents can choose to send or not send their children to preschool at all, or they can choose an alternative program in the area. In other words, if parents don't agree with our policies, they can go elsewhere. Aside from homeschooling and open enrolling students in another district, K through 12 parents must send their students to school and be subject to the policies of the district. So given that this is an optional program, that parents can just say, we're just deciding we don't agree with the policies, we're not going to send our student, or we're going to send our student somewhere else. It's very different than what I or it's not me, it's the board collectively says this is the policy. So we decided to implement a poll of those preschool parents. Those are the people who are affected. We have about 200 families. Traditionally, a poll that has 30% participation or higher is considered statistically valid. You can Google it, I didn't make it up. We had 111 families respond out of 200, so well over 50%. And there were a lot of questions on that poll, not a lot, maybe 8 or 10. But the key one that I think most folks here care about is, should masks be an optional policy, or should masks be required? 67% of the respondents indicated masks should be optional, leaving about 33% saying masks should be required. So that's where we're at today in going forward to make a policy. So if I could have a motion and a second on the policy, then anyone who wants to add anything could do so in discussion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to make a brief statement that my vote is reflective of the results of the survey. As the parents, the survey that we gave the parents whose children are directly involved. My vote does not reflect any influence from any sort of outside group or organization.
I do have a question for my fellow board members, and that is there anything, I think we were asked the one question, I think it wasn't by Larry that he asked us, under what conditions might we change our policy, and if we vote to go optional, is there anything that we can anticipate that would once again throw that into the mix? Are there any hardcore things that we're committed to that would overturn that?
I'm not aware of anything that we committed to as a board, no.
Okay. Nothing about the virus that would come up that we would, no?
No.
Okay. Well, I have any other, okay. I have a statement to make because I threw some people into confusion last time, and I want to clarify. It was a 4-1 vote, and I was the lone no vote. And so as little as 2 hours ago, I was responding to some people who said, why did you vote for continuing the masking policy? And I actually said I voted no because I was hoping that then and there we could all vote no and then take another vote to eliminate masks altogether. So that's what I was trying to do, but I think I confused people in my no vote. So I want to make it very clear that, especially in regard to the preschool, I am for the optional masking policy, very much so. And I think that especially with the pre-K, when as of right now, it's 5 years of age and up that can get the vaccine, and there's only 10 5-year-olds in the preschool. And so I didn't think it was necessary to mandate masks for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, especially for those 10 that we may not even be aware of whether they're going to get the vaccine or not. So thank you to our principal who put out the survey, the parents that participated in it. You gave the data that is helpful to us, and we appreciate that.
Roll call, please.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you, Sean. Earlier tonight, we had the moment of silence for Donna. And so Donna was one of my 3 employees. I've known her for many years. I've known the family for 40 years. Joe, you can't focus in on me. She loved her family. She'll be missed by everybody that ever met her. So, okay. Just real quick, an item that's not on the agenda. I think the board received an email last week about the audit wrapping up. It's in the final review stage. There is one comment that they make every year. We don't file our financial statement according to generally accepted accounting principles. We've talked about that every year. It's filed on the cash basis. They had made originally 2 other verbal comments, but after some research and good record keeping by one of my employees that said we took care of that in 2014, it's down to one minor issue that was corrected the day they pointed it out to us. So again, it's a clean audit, as I expect every year, and it's a little more challenging when you have part of a year remote, you have turnover in the secretarial positions at the buildings, and they are, they're the ones that, if it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong there because they're new. And this year, they really concentrated on receipts at the middle school, and I've got to say, Vicki Mells did an excellent job. I thanked her for it. Every receipt that they pulled out of the 40 or 60 that they pulled, we had proper documentation, and really that was across the board. We get audited every year. They pick a sample of regular stuff, and then they audit some of the federal programs. This year it was food service, and I don't remember, the ESSER funds. So everything came through fine. Proud of my staff and proud of, every employee who has any handling of cash or has the rules that they have to follow, because if one person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, we have a problem. So again, it's my name that's at the bottom of the letter, but it's every employee here. So thank you to all of them. So I'm going to go on to the stuff that's in the agenda. The first is to approve the financial reports for all funds, fund-to-fund transfer report, and the check payment register for November 2021.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
The next is to adopt the resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. After the first and second, I'll give a quick explanation.
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Real quick, this is a at least annual resolution the board passes. Once all the tax values are calculated, they readjust the millage to make sure that the dollar amount that each levy is supposed to collect will continue to collect that. And this is basically certifying those that millage back to the county auditor. It doesn't raise your taxes, it doesn't lower your taxes, it really has zero effect because the tax bills are already being produced.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0. And then the final item is to accept a generous donation of $100 from Matthew Byers to North Elementary School to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $200 from Susan Church to North Elementary School to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $50 from Ben and Joni Soriano to North Elementary School to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $1,000 from Leanna Ruff to North Elementary to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $1,000 from Open Table Friends Church to North Elementary School to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $1,000 from Chapel United Methodist Church to North Elementary to be used for Santa Streaks. To accept a generous donation of $300 from Madison Kiwanis to South Elementary School to be used for Christmas giving to students. And to accept a generous donation of gloves, hats, masks, and hand sanitizer from American Legion 601 Ladies Auxiliary in memory of Sherry Izzarelli to South Elementary School to be used as needed.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say thank you to the community. They are always very generous with our students. I do have a quick question. We are always accepting a lot of donations from North Elementary, not quite so many for South Elementary. How is South Elementary doing with their funds for the Christmas giving? Do we have any idea? I mean, I understand this is a on-the-spur-of-the-moment question, so if you need to look into that, that's
I
fine.
know that they do Christmas giving, and again, it just depends on the level of student need.
Right.
And that building, north and south, it is a different proportion of level of
It
student.
it is. So I wonder if we shouldn't look at combining fundraising efforts between the two, and then, obviously the fundraising can go based upon how many students are at each school that need it. It may just be something that we might want to look into.
Right. And some people just donate money to do the shopping and have the building do the shopping. Other people take a name and they do the shopping.
Right.
So it's all based on that type of setup. Key Club did adopt 30 students here.
From South?
Yes. from
Oh,
South.
okay, great, wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0. That's
So I was
all
going
have. Thank you.
to mention this earlier, but my son was the long-haired tuba player who actually has more hair than I do. So I said to him, been on the board for 6 years and you finally come to a meeting, and I said, are you going to stick around afterwards or do you have to go to basketball? And he said, I'm not sure, Dad, I'll see you at home. So that was that.
He does have really great hair.
I know, great hair.
Does have
yeah.
great hair.
Okay. Report to the administrative team.
We don't have a long report tonight because we have a video that we want to share, but I do want to first say thank you to London for her bravery. I know how hard it is to speak in front of a room full of adults, and you did a very nice job, and your composure was outstanding. So good job. Second, another big way that our district has given back this year in the community is each building has had very successful canned food drives. I know North was over 4,000. I think the middle school was around 3. South had a good number, and I know the high school had 1,200. But the people that benefit are the people in this community. And so thank you to all of those students and families that brought cans in to give back to the community in need. We really do appreciate it. We put together a little video that is a lot of pictures, a little introduction by me, but really highlights the first half of this school year and a little bit of last school year, because we have, I think, been in so much transition with the pandemic and all the issues surrounding that. But I think the one thing everybody can agree on is that we do some wonderful things in this district for our students. Our students are getting some valuable experiences. So from outstanding teachers and support staff, and as trying as some days have been, there's a lot of good and a lot of joy going on in these classrooms. And tomorrow one of the things that I get to do is the home ec class makes bears for the kindergartners. The kindergartners design the bears, and then the high school students sew the bears. And it came out of a project several years ago. When my mother passed away, she had a lot of bears. And I didn't know what to do with these bears, and I still have them sitting in my office, but I will bringing a couple bears to the kindergartens over the next several days for them to have reading buddies in the classroom. Because there was a book called Bears Make the Best Reading Buddies, but it was a wonderful way to honor the memory of my parents, and this time of year I obviously miss them a great deal. And so to be able to share the love of bears with kindergartners tomorrow is going to bring great joy. So without further ado, we're going to go down and we're going to watch a little bit of this video presentation. I don't know about you, but the older I get, the faster time seems to fly. The first half of the 2021-22 school year has done just that. It has flown by. Even though it's had its fair share of challenges, there have been many great things happening in our school community. And as we close out the end of the calendar year of 2021, I want to take the opportunity to share with you many of those great accomplishments. We have a dedicated staff who has put in countless hours to help transition our students back to school, to make school a safe and welcoming place, and to help our students make up lost ground that has happened during this pandemic. And we also have been able to provide experiences that are truly the center of our community. We are very fortunate here in Madison to have one of the best staffs around. Our support staff has put in countless hours to help our students, and our partnership with Community Bus Service has kept us safe on the road so that kids can come to school and learn. And we have one of the best mechanics around to keep that fleet up and running. I want to take this opportunity to share all those great accomplishments. And rather than me reading a list of many of those things, I thought it would be better to say it in pictures and messages. So Madison community, I want to wish you a very happy holiday season and a very safe and healthy 2022. I want to go into the new year Madison strong. thank you, Joe Measle, for putting that together.
Great job,
Yeah, Joe.
And thank you so much for, Gabe was in some of those pictures. So thank you.
Ready for the recommendation?
Yeah.
Under the personnel motion this evening, we're asking you to accept the following resignation. Accept the resignation of Summer Miller, pre-K assistant, effective November 25th, 2021. To accept the resignation of Hannah Wood, pre-K assistant, effective December 16th, 2021. To accept the resignation of Leanne Revere, EMIS secretary, effective December 3rd, 2021. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Sylvia Hendricks, Madison Middle School educational aide, effective January 28th, 2022. And then we're asking you to enter into the following employment contracts: to employ Nancy Woodworth as a pre-K building substitute at the approved rates of pay per day, effective August 18th, 2021. To employ Tiffany Green under a long-term substitute teacher contract from January 4th, 2022 through February 16th, 2022 to perform the duties of Corey Willis. To employ Marianne Barish under a long-term substitute teacher contract from December 13th, 2021 through May 22nd, 2022 to perform the duties of a North Elementary Intervention Specialist. To employ Leanna Rivera as assistant to the treasurer at a compensation rate of $18.25 per hour, effective December 3rd, 2021. We're asking you to approve each of the following substitutes as approved by the Educational Service Center of the Western Reserve and/or the Madison Local School District Superintendent under a one-year limited substitute teacher contract for the 2021-22 school year, beginning with Erin Brenninger and ending with Shannon Weirbeach. The following persons as a casual day-to-day substitute at the board-approved rate of compensation for the 2021-22 school year: Jacqueline Claus, beginning with Jacqueline Claus and ending with Joanne Galletti. The following non-certificated person under a one-year limited personal service contract for the 2021-22 school year for the Robert White as an MMS 7th grade wrestling coach. And we're asking you to approve the following transfer: to transfer Don Sanzo from second shift custodian at Madison High School to head night custodian at Madison High School, effective December 6th, 2021. And we're amending the following contracts: to amend the coaching contract of Aaron Brown, Board Motion 17921, from MHS Assistant Swim Coach to MHS Assistant Varsity Wrestling Coach at a rate of compensation of .15, 4 years at $5,954.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Well, I just want to thank our Assistant Superintendent, David Bull, for your involvement with the pre-K. I know with the union, non-union, the revolving door sometimes we experience, it's very difficult, and your participation and your involvement in that and your oversight has been extremely appreciated. So thank you, and thank you for doing what we can to raise some pay for some of our non-union teachers or aides. It's been appreciated very much. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
The next item is that increase the hourly rate of the preschool assistant, and that would be the non-union, to $10.20 per hour, effective January 1st, 2022.
I move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
And we're asking you to approve a new job description for central registration / EMIS assistant as found on file in the board office. And that would be, as that position Leanna has filled has evolved over the years. We feel that it captures the duties more accurately.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
And the next item is the resolution of service for Michael Howry for his years of service on the Board of Education.
Thanks, Paul.
I'll move.
A second?
Any discussion?
Mike, I'm going to miss you.
Thank you. I will miss you.
really am. I'm not, I'm not going to see near as much of you. And I really enjoyed your participation, the conversations that we've had over the years, and your guidance. And I will miss you.
Yeah. Thanks. I'll miss you and all of you. It's been a privilege and honor to serve with such a group of distinguished professionals.
So I will miss you too, Mike, especially the P word, process. Mike always holds us to committing to making sure we follow the process in making decisions, and it's almost become sort of a little bit of a inside joke amongst the board about making sure we are thorough in our decision-making, in how we go about things, considering, all the various stakeholders, and, hearing each other, and there's a whole lot that goes into it you wouldn't believe. That's why it's sort of become the inside joke. But it has also made us a better board, so we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that.
All right, roll call?
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry.
For my own resolution?
You can do
Yeah.
it.
Okay, yes.
Michelle Hayes,
That's weird.
Unfortunately, I'd love to say no, but yes.
vote is 5-0.
Sean, do you want to give him the plaque? We did cut your signature out of it, Mike, because we thought signing your own resolution would be...
Right. So there you go.
There you go. Thank you very much.
That's pretty.
Yes, it is. I will cherish this. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Mike. And now the next item is board policy update. At the last meeting, we went through the first reading of these policies, beginning with 1617 weapons and ending with 8740 bonding.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
And on the consent calendar this evening, there are two items: to enter into an agreement between the Madison Local School District and the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio to provide an interpreter and gifted coordinator services for the 2021-22 school year, and to enter into a shared services agreement between the Madison Local School District and Perry Local School District to provide an EMIS consultant trainer at a cost not to exceed $5,000 for the 2021-22 school year.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to say thank you for Perry for helping us in this area. EMIS is very important to the district. It is a lot of data, a lot of collection, a lot of reports. And this is also a civil rights data collection year, and our EMIS coordinator appreciates it as well. So thank you to Perry, and thank you hopefully to this board for approving this contract.
Might you explain what EMIS is for the audience?
EMIS is where all the data goes into the state. They collect things on enrollment, attendance, grades, testing, what else? Where students are. So if there's students that go to a charter school, they keep track of that. They, everything related to funding ultimately will funnel through when we're counting kids and where they're at. I've often joked, because I've been in this business so long, that EMIS started in many districts as a secretary that maybe did it for a quarter of a day. Now there's not enough hours in the day for the amount of data that we have to collect and report to the state and the federal government. So it's a very, very important job.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
We do not have a need for executive session, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Brian Horvath,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Stand in adjournment.
The last meeting. Oh, and just like that, it's over.